This is rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, 3-time Grey Cup champion, 2-time Grey Cup MVP is in my house. Ladies and gentlemen, Henry Burris is here.
It's an honor to be here with you, to see the collection. I see the jersey, everything. Yeah. Thanks for having me in.
It's my honor. It's my pleasure. Yeah, I mean, this is, I only have the one jersey. It was the only one that was ever given to me. I imagine you've probably got tons of jerseys at your place.
All the jerseys of the teams that cut me and the teams that actually thought I was worth a lick.
Isn't that funny? It's like everyone thinks you should have all kinds of merchandise up there. And you're like, those teams all cut me.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only one team that never cut me, and that's this team. I love them. That's the one you have the most affiliation. One you hold on to. Yeah. Don't cheer for them. Why are you your kids are like, I love the BC Lions. I'm like, did you know they cut me? Did you know? Daddy went to work one day.
I saw that. You had the photo of them up here.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible. No, it's not. It's actually not. When we look back on our careers, we look back with appreciation for every day we had in that environment, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
those are good stories to share with your kids because, for us who were able to experience the professional ranks in football, the thing is, it shows the kids that it's not just you wake up and you're in the pros one day. You have to work hard for it, but it prepares you for the highs and lows that you deal with in life because it's not all just given to you. I mean, people are going to tell you can't do it or we don't think you can do it. But the question that we're able to translate to them and the reality that we experienced is that look how we reacted to this. We overcame the odds of what people put against us, and we found a way to become successful through the hard work that we put in. And that's why you have the jersey on your wall. That's how I had the jersey on my wall, and the rings I was able to win throughout my career. It came all from hard work and sacrifice, but thankfully in the end you have those stories to share that many people actually can't share.
That's been 1 hour, folks. Thank you very much. You can't argue with the man, like the message. He throws out unbelievable life-changing messages in 2 minutes right there. That was unbelievable. So well said, for sure. And I did realize in doing research that you were, I don't know if you were definitely on the team where I played my last game, the 99 BC Lions. You played in the game? I can't remember.
No, I was there. Actually, before we played you guys, I had a knee injury early that year. Okay. But in 99, the first time we played BC in Calgary, played against you guys ran two-man. And two-man's the perfect defense for a quarterback to take off and scramble. Mm-hmm. Dale Joseph was your safety, and I went to make a move on him in Calgary, and I made a cut off my right leg, and I felt my knee go pop.
Okay.
And so I tore my ACL, and you guys ended up beating us that game. And it's funny, the guy who came in backing me up in that game was a guy by the name of Mike McCoy. And I don't know if you know who Mike McCoy is now. He was currently the offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos. He currently is. He was the head coach of the San Diego Chargers. Yeah. And he was our number 3 quarterback behind Dave Dickinson, myself as the 2, and then Mike McCoy. So it's a pretty successful trio there.
Wow.
To see that Dave is now the head coach in Calgary. Mike McCoy is the offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos again after he was fired from the San Diego Chargers. And then here I am, Mr. Broadcaster TV guy.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. Yeah, it's funny to look back, and sometimes you don't realize the people that you're playing with, but you look at the old programs, you're like, wow, that guy was there too. And that, you know, because sometimes you can have hardly any success in your environment, and you're put into the right position the next year, the following year, or years down the road, and you flourish and amazing things happen, right? Like it's a lot of taking advantage of the opportunities put before you and just staying positive.
You're right, because all the time when I talk to kids just around the city, because I know we're working with Bell Let's Talk is about to happen. I mean, this is mental as far as mental health, as far as awareness month with Bell. And it is nationally recognized now, internationally. And one of the messages I always share with kids are the fact that regardless of who is at the top in whatever industry it is, for us in the world of sports, you look at Tom Brady, you look at Michael Jordan, LeBron James, all these guys have been told that they couldn't do it. I share the examples of people like Oprah Winfrey. Her first job as being a broadcaster, they told her she didn't have it in Baltimore. Right. They let her go. Mm-hmm. She did all right. And a guy named Michael Jordan, I don't know who this guy was, trying to play ninth grade basketball, but the team, they said, you aren't good enough, and they cut him. Yeah. Ninth grade basketball, Michael Jordan. A guy named Walt Disney had a job with a newspaper, and they said, you know what, you're just not too creative on your writing and your thought process. Well, Walt Disney, he still isn't that creative, is he? He still can't write. He doesn't have a great imagination. Yeah. But it just goes to show you that through it all, we all deal with setbacks. Yeah. But the thing is, the people that I know that have mental health issues, they are probably some of the most gifted people that I know. But I want to change the focus when it comes to, dealing with mental health, and the fact that we know there's mental illness out there. We do know that. But the fact that you've been blessed with these gifts, focus on the positives, because we all deal with setbacks in life. And I know some are more serious than others, and I do respect that. But the fact is, you're blessed with a gift for a reason. Go use it.
So the message when you're suffering from something like mental health issues, what is what is sort of the answer? What is, if someone's out there watching and they're like, I'm thinking about ending it or whatever it's not always that severe, right? Is there, like, what's your message as to what to do when you have a mental health issue?
Well, I think you need to surround yourself with positive people that hey, not to lie, we all need our tires pumped sometimes. You know what I mean? When things aren't the best, we need somebody there to pat us on the back, give us a hug, and say, man, it's going to be all right. Just get up, dust yourself off, and keep going. Well, everybody needs that. And I think in order to build that self-esteem, to build it back up, you need those people in your corner. You are a product of who you surround yourself with. And I'm pretty sure you've heard the same cliches about you become the 5 people that are the closest to you. And if you have 5 people that are close to you that are just such positive people that, whenever you need that positive enlightenment, that confidence builder, they're always there to deliver. And we all need that. No matter how much I smile, how much they call me Smiling Hank, I smile because I'm blessed to have the right people in my life, the people who know how to drop that nugget or plant that right seed to help me sprout again and be the same guy who goes in getting up at 3:15 every morning to do a morning TV show. And I'm able to smile and tell everybody how great or how bad or how cold it is outside. But to help enlighten and brighten people's mornings when they wake up each and every day with CTV Morning Live. So it's one of those things that we all need that no matter what struggles we have in life, we all need positive people in our life to push the right buttons to get us going.
Who are those? Your wife?
Oh, definitely my wife, my parents, some of my best friends that I have, my Daryl Nimtus to Kevin Hatches to Ryan Thelwell's to Dean Esposito's. I have all these guys, the John Gotts, the big bearded ones, the Jamichael Deans. But I'm blessed to have met people that, hey, they all might be different than me. They all might do different things than what I've done in life. But we all have the same common focus, and that's to make sure we see each other, even more than ourselves, be successful in life.
It's amazing because we think of Henry Burris now, and immediately we go to, like, I don't know if savior is the right word, but someone who accomplished. Listen, I grew up in this city. I grew up in Ottawa, and I wanted a winning football team so bad as a kid. And to me, it almost became an impossibility. These Rough Riders barely made it to the playoffs. I was the kid who would take the OC Transpo bus over to Shoppers Drug Mart to get the $1 end zone ticket. And then I go, 5 hours before the game to watch the players arrive. And I would sit there in the freezing cold, and the ball would be kicked over for converts, and people would wrestle for it. And I never got it, the whole bit. And I just wanted it so bad. And I think it was in 1980 when they made it to the Grey Cup with J.C. Watts, and they didn't win. And then there was years of no team. And when I played in the CFL, there was no team in Ottawa. And even when I was drafted, I was not drafted by the Ottawa team that was here. I think they picked the guy that was dead. I believe that happened.
I heard about those stories.
That's great, And here we think of Henry Burris. So he's brought this Grey Cup to Ottawa in miraculous form, limping off before the game. And oh no, what's going to happen? He comes out and has the greatest sporting event in Ottawa history. I don't care. Maybe we can go back to Frank Finnegan in the early 1900s winning the Stanley Cup. I have no idea. That's out of my realm. But to me, it is the greatest moment in Ottawa sports history. And we think, wow, just, gifted. That's who he is. And I know that behind that is years of struggle, years of wanting to give up and finding the motivation on a daily basis. I'll quickly tell you my story because I know you're not fully aware of it. And it started here in Ottawa in 1985. And me and my big brother Bill were watching the Super Bowl just down the street, actually, over on Montreal Road. Green couch, we're watching the Super Bowl. Dan Marino's playing the whole bit. And, my brother turns to me, he goes, if Dan Marino in his second season can take his team to the Super Bowl, he was making and breaking all kinds of records that he goes, surely someday you'll play in the NFL. And I'd only played 1 year of organized football at Gloucester High School down the road, and it was a disaster. Okay, we didn't win a game. I hardly played. I was a wide receiver, an inside receiver, no particular position. And then, the next season we won a few more games, and we made it to the playoffs. And that year, on October 30th, 1985, my first playoff game I ever played, we went out and we had a great game, but we lost. And after the game, my uncle was standing there, and he says to me, "I'm sorry to tell you this, Mark, but your big brother Bill died today." He had a heart condition, and from a very young age, the doctors told him that he could die any day. But he never let that get in his way, and that was his reason. He just threw it all to the wind, lived every day like it might be his last. And I set a goal on that day of making it to the NFL. I promised my brother that I'd never give up on that dream. And you know how the story goes. No, terrible football season year after year. Not really, getting a little bit better all the time. And then my last year of high school football, guys are getting letters from universities saying they want them to go there and play football. And every day I check my mailbox for a letter, and nobody ever cared. I went back another year, and Bishop's University showed some interest in me, a great school, but nobody had ever gone on to play in the NFL from there. But it was the only team that wanted me to go there, so I went there, and I went from inside receiver. Actually, Jacques Chapdelaine was our coach, and I went from tight end, and then that didn't exist in Canadian football for Jacques Chapdelaine, right?
Tight end.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was a D lineman, then an offensive lineman. I had no idea what I was doing. I broke bones and was injured for 3-4 years, not even winning an All-Star award. And just never giving up, refocusing, setting goals, keep going in that direction. I'd made that promise. I had that motivation. And I got to try out my final year, my 5th year with the Detroit Lions. I go out, I give it all I got. I trained super hard, and I got released from the team. I come back to Ottawa, and I'd been drafted by the BC Lions, but my goal, the promise I'd made to my brother, was to try and make it to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I just never gave up, and I kept going. And October 30th, so 10 years to the day of my big brother passing away, 10 years to the day of me making that promise, I got a workout with the Miami Dolphins.
Nice.
Shula was like, great workout. Go inside. Somebody will be in to talk to you in a moment. I go in, sit down, and this familiar-looking guy walks in the room. He walks right straight over to me. And he goes, "Hi, Mark. I'm Dan Marino. I heard you made the team."
Wow.
So taking a horrible situation, right, and flipping it around and making it my motivator, my reason why, and having days, years where, it's not going my way, but just continuing to point myself in that direction, and just to never give up on something that you're passionate about, right? Mm-hmm. And we had Derek Fajan here a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about, some mental health issues he had. And we were talking about sort of possible solutions or steps to take. And he said, find a passion. Find something that you love doing, that motivates you, that's your reason for getting out of bed in the morning. And surround yourself with people. Yeah. And so what I'd like to talk to you about is sort of your story. Like, where did it all start out? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Spiro, Oklahoma. Okay. Not Spiro like a football, S-P-I-R-A-L, but I'm from S-P-I-R-O, Oklahoma. Okay. And Spiro is a small rural farm town, honestly. Probably around just over 2,000 people live in Spiro.
Did you live on a farm?
I lived on a farm.
What kind of farm?
Just a grain farm. We had cattle. We had sheep, horse.
Oh, wow.
We had everything, chickens.
That's amazing.
I was a farm boy growing up. And, in just the lessons I went through and I learned there in the small town I grew up in the South, here I am being a black quarterback, playing a position that predominantly a lot of white quarterbacks played in the area that I grew up in. Okay. There was probably only 2 before me that played the position of quarterback at my school. And then here I came up as a young kid who showed promise. I had a strong arm, skinny with a gap between my teeth and big feet, slow, slew-footed. But we dealt with a lot of things down there, especially what you see is going on in the U.S. right now. But, I had so many people who supported me. Drugs really weren't a big problem back then, but gangs were also a problem. Mm-hmm. But again, I have family members who always steered me away from that. Cousins, friends who, were the typical guys to get involved in stuff, always wanted to be involved in the scuffles so they could have memories and things to talk about. But I had good people who always told me to stay away. Focus on this, focus on that, focus on school. You got a future. Focus on playing quarterback. You're doing something great. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I had those people in my life because, I always remember, and this coach to this day, he always apologizes to me. And he said I had that wrong. But he said he always told me that, and he looked at me and he saw I was a black guy. And he said, if you can't run, you're not going to play for me. Mm-hmm. And my response to him was, well, if the ball gets there quicker, I don't need to run. But in his mind as a head coach, he said if I couldn't run the football, that I was going to play because majority of the black quarterbacks that played before me were more glorified running backs, great athletes. And I saw myself as an athlete, but I thought that, hey, I'm a type of guy, I want to read defenses. I want to play like the Dan Marinos or the Warren Moons that I'm seeing on TV. I want to read coverages. I want to be the guy to sizzle a seam route in there between the safety and the corner and cover 3, and then watch the receiver run in the end zone, and I'm doing something like this. That's what I wanted to do, and that got me all pumped up. But fortunately enough, that coach moved on to a bigger school because he was very successful. A lot of great players were developed at Spiro High School. But then Chris Bunch came about, who was his offensive coordinator. And now Chris was a black guy, became the head coach at Spiro. And he gave me my first starting job. And when he did that, he was kind of my father figure away from home. I mean, he definitely was my father figure. And again, there was another person in my life to help me make the right decisions, to help guide me in the right
coaches are so
direction.
Important.
So important because once I left my parents at home, and I was one of the few that were thankful and blessed to have both the mother and the father, and I'm still thankful that they're still with us today. Loving their grandkids to death. And
they live in Ottawa?
No, they live back in Oklahoma still. Because right now I currently have all 4 of my sister's daughters.
4 sisters.
I have 2 sisters.
Okay.
Well, all 4 of their daughters all played Division I. Well, not Division I, but all played major university basketball. And her youngest just signed at Providence College, and she's playing guard/4, like small forward at Providence College now, a Div I school in the Big East Conference. So the fact that my parents get to follow them just like they followed myself and my 2 sisters during our sporting journeys and such, it gives them more passion to continue on just to be there for their kids and now also their grandkids. But just to understand that having the backing that I did and the resources through family and the friends that I had helped me get to where I am today. But also the people at that point saying, if you can't do this, then you're not going to play for me, started that fuel on my fire. Then I went to Temple University where I didn't win many games. I won 5 games in 4 years. And then again, I was told that I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. But then Canada gave me a chance to come play the game. And I still have people up here telling me I couldn't get it done. Look at me. I only won 5 games in 4 years in university. And if you win 5 games as a quarterback, that's miserable, especially in Philadelphia. And I don't know if you've ever been to Philadelphia when it came to playing sports, but the Philadelphia Eagle fans, the Philly fans, the Sixer fans, they're not nice people. And people let you know that, especially when you played at Temple. They were living right there in Philly with the Division I football program. And we played Penn State and Kerry Collins and Kajana Carter, guys who went in the first round, won Heisman trophies. And people are saying, Penn State's playing against what school is this? Temple? And they live right down the street from us and didn't even know we existed and had a football team.
I was there when Keanu Carter blew his knee out. I was about 100 meters from it. It was terrible. It was his first preseason game in the NFL.
Oh my goodness!
In Detroit, it was terrible. Everyone was so excited to watch this guy play, and it was terrible. I mean, it was a terrible event, and he got carried off, and the game continued on. You're like, wow, what did I just witness? That was terrible. So early on, I guess, I mean, the struggles were. Is it racism? What did that look like in your hometown?
To me, it was bigger than racism. It was just, I always took it for me as people personally just telling me no for many different reasons. Of course, I was always told that as a black person, they couldn't handle the mental stress. They couldn't think quick enough. They're just great athletes. And that's why it was always that the black quarterbacks who played in front of me were always option quarterback, running quarterbacks, athletes. But then here I was, this big slew-footed kid who couldn't run that fast. And they're like, okay, if you can't run, you're not going to play. And I'm thinking, well, the ball gets there faster. But I've always been told no, and I couldn't do it for a number of reasons. And it lasted even into the CFL. Yeah. Even into my final season, it lasted where, they were saying I was too old. The next thing you know, my job was given to Trevor Harris. And I'm like, okay, we went to 2 Grey Cups back-to-back. What did I do wrong? Yeah. And I could have played another year. But I chose not to play because, going into my final year, I was going to be the backup. And they guaranteed Trevor the job. But that was after the 2015 Grey Cup in Winnipeg in our second year of existence.
Unbelievable.
And I was told I was going to be the backup because Trevor was guaranteed the starting job. And again, they had their excuses, but the thing is, you take a guy who just took a team to a Grey Cup back-to-back years and then he's benched. You know what I mean? That would have been a hard pill for me to swallow. But thankfully for me, I planned well in advance of my exit plan. I earned my degree in broadcasting and communications and mass media at Temple University.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
And for over a decade leading up to that moment in 2016 after the Grey Cup, I've been preparing for that moment by working each off season with a media source, doing morning show format, both television and radio, making sure that I invested enough time into that area, into that industry to show what I really wanted to do and hopefully share my passion while on air and hopefully show a small tidbit or something that I could catch somebody's attention and say, hey, you know, we want to give that kid a chance. And I'm thankful that it happened here in Ottawa, a place where we were able to establish a foundation. My wife, Nicole, loves it here. The kids love it here. But all that came through people's motivation of saying that I couldn't. Right. And I know it's something that people at home deal with all the time, kids being told they couldn't do this. And that's the reason why I love to share those 4 examples of people who are at the top in their industries and people who have helped pioneer our generation as far as into the world that's to come, as far as Oprah with TV, Michael Jordan with basketball, Walt Disney with just kid stories and television. And there's so many other people out there that have stories that you can continue to tell. But the fact that those people had to overcome the same obstacles, I had to overcome the same obstacles to be put in the position to be able to help change Ottawa sports history and be able to change people's lives. It was 40 years ago that the last team prior to us winning the Grey Cup was able to bring a trophy professionally back to this city. 40-year drought. Yeah, can you imagine?
That's my life.
Yeah, and then all these people who said I couldn't get it done after taking Hamilton to the Grey Cup, they were like, "Oh, you're too old. We're going to bring in Zach Claros." Yeah. Calgary didn't want me anymore. They brought in another guy who backed me up, and you know, they sent me to Hamilton. So all these people told me I couldn't do it. Chicago, Green Bay, everybody said that, but all I needed was just somebody to give me a chance. Yeah. And once I got that chance, I was able to make it happen. And I'm thankful that because I had those people saying those confident things, those positive building nuggets that they placed in my life, just give me words of advice, help me stick with it, because they knew I put too much in it to get me this far. Why are you going to quit when you're on the doorstep of something special?
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, football is a great metaphor for life, right? I mean, one minute you say we're the king of the world, we're the Grey Cup MVP, and then the next we're not. We're the second string, and it's amazing. And you have to learn to overcome that, because you have a great day, it starts off fantastic, something happens, and you got to learn to handle that situation. And I mean, the role model that you become in the city is unbelievable. Is that something by conscious decision? Like like you say with someone like Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, they become bigger than what they do. You know what I mean? Like they go out there and they're an inspiration to a generation. And is that you're well on your way to doing that. And how does that manifest itself in is it Canada or is it Ottawa?
Well, I mean, for me, it's Canada, but Ottawa has helped provide my family and I with something that's extra special. And I never walk out the door looking at myself like I'm somebody special. I care less what I did, but I know what I did can help others. Right. And I know what I did also puts me in a different light with my kids too, because they see me as dad. I'm already their superhero as being their dad. But the fact that I was able to achieve something, and there's pictures around where they still see after we won the 2015 East Final in the fashion that we did, my youngest son is looking at me like, wow, you're the greatest. And when I look at that, I get emotional just seeing that picture, because, you know, for me to have my 2 boys being able to see daddy and be there and know what exactly happened. And forever now, no matter how old they are, when they look at those pictures of me hugging them on the field after games and being on stage in Toronto, they understand that. But I understand what we did can impact others, because as a kid, I looked up to Troy Aikman, who grew up not far from where I did. We played his high school. I saw him play when he was in high school. To Emmitt Smith, who was a running back, one of the greatest all-time NFL running backs, to Warren Moon, to Kevin Johnson, who was one of the greatest point guards ever to play in the NBA, who played for the Phoenix Suns. And his dream was not only to do great things on the court, but to also go back and deliver at home. And he's now the mayor of Sacramento. So it's those things that
Henry Burris, mayor of Ottawa?
Oh, no, I don't know. We're not putting that out there yet.
Go on,
But it's one of those things where I don't walk around like I'm somebody, but whenever I have opportunity to make a difference in a kid's life, I was once that kid. Yeah. And if I see one of my heroes that did something that impacted my life, I'm now on the other end of that, where I'm thankful to have been able to experience that and to work hard to be a part of a team that achieved that, where I want to make sure I plant that seed to resonate with that child, boy or girl, regardless of who it is. It's something that they'll remember forever. And if I can just say that one word that'll trigger something in their mind to cause them to go out and do the right thing and live out their dreams, I always say, hey, when I see you the next time and you're an older person and you're in college and you're living out your dream, you better give me an autograph too. That's what I tell them. And but I mean, it's just those things that you remember, those little things. And I still remember the things that Emmitt Smith told me. He said, if you go out and do the things that you're capable of, that you did at my camp, I went to Emmitt Smith football camp. Yeah. He said, "You will be a professional quarterback one day." And I still take heed to that. I remember that. And
it's amazing.
When I send him in a message, and he always says, I remember you, and congratulations on everything that you achieved.
Yeah, the power it expands, right? Like you say one word and it has a lifetime of meaning. It's unbelievable. And just the fact that you stayed in Ottawa has a huge impact on people, right? They obviously see this as a more worthy place of living. Not that they shouldn't, but people always kind of question their environment and to say, well, he's retired and he's sticking around here, and as they're shoveling out their driveway in February, right?
We're right there with
Henry
everybody.
Burris is doing it too, right?
Well, I got the kids there working on their slap shots, and
that's right. They play hockey. Hey, how's that?
What's it called when they use the other side of the stick?
Like a backhand.
Saucer
passes.
Well, saucer passes. Well, I got them lifting snow up using the backhand.
That's amazing.
See, I don't know all the terms in hockey because I never played stick sports except for baseball. Yeah. But using that backhand when they're shoveling, it helps build that awareness and how to work your wrist and everything.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing: you've sort of become an expert at one sport, right? You've mastered a sport, done everything you can too, and you know so much about it. I remember when I retired from football, I just knew so much about football, and here I come along, and my kids are playing hockey. And there is a way to translate what you have learned into helping them what they have learned, right? It's not sports specific. It's sort of more, it's more life specific, right? Like what are the lessons, like a top 3 that you can say you learned from football that are going to help your children in hockey and then in life, right? Because that's what it's all about.
Well, the first thing I tell kids, especially here in Ottawa, because there's I don't know what's going on here, but there's such a push for kids to just play one sport. Mm-hmm. Well, life's not meant to just do one thing.
That's right.
I mean, life is meant to enjoy Mother Nature's creation, number one. Life is also spent to enjoy as much as you possibly can because knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. And the only way you get knowledge is by putting your hands on something and doing something with it. You can't say you've been there and done that when you've never even seen it before. I've heard too many cases where kids at the age of 14, 15, 16 are now wanting to change sports because they've played one sport for so long and they're done with it. Mm. There's a shelf life for every sport.
Yep.
No matter how far you and I went in playing our professional sport of football, there was a shelf life for us. And at some point you're ready to do something else.
Yep.
These kids are 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, and these parents had these kids playing year round. Mm-hmm. The thing is, enjoy so many things. That's why during the NFL lead up to the Pro Bowl, they had an event called the MVP, Most Valuable Performer. Mm-hmm. And they had guys, different players on there from singing to playing guitars to doing different things, dancing. And these guys are showing off gifts of things that they learned while they were kids growing up because they did more than just play football. Well, that's something I stress parents to do because you don't want your kids growing up living a life knowing that, man, all I did my entire life was do one thing. Yeah. Because that's not a fun life to live, just doing one thing. Mm-hmm. I urge my kids to play more sports, but my oldest plays both basketball and hockey, and he's now starting to see the game the way I saw it from the basketball perspective. On the football field, he's able to see it the same way now in the basketball court where you can see things moving. Mm-hmm. And when he goes from playing basketball to hockey, the game is slowed down even that much more for him. Where I played the game in football just like a point guard because playing basketball allowed me to see the court, allowed me to manipulate a 2-3 zone, a 2-1-2 zone, or a 3-2 zone, or a full court trap, being able to make players move a certain way just so I could get certain guys open. But if I didn't play basketball, I wouldn't have understood that. Mm-hmm. The thing is, enjoy what life has to offer for you because once it comes to that point where you have to make the decision, at least you can say you've been there and you've done that and you know exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm. The thing about hockey, and I find too, and exactly what you're saying, is you have to start it from a real young age to sort of be competitive in it anyways. And when it's started at a real young age, it's not the kid's decision, right? It's the adult's decision, which is fine because you got to make decisions for your kids.
Right.
But then, like you say, you got to let them try other things and experiment, see what it is that they're suited for and they enjoy, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly. So they play basketball?
Yeah, the oldest plays competitive basketball and competitive hockey. Last year he did the whole AA thing, and he enjoyed it, but it was a nuisance because he was living the life at 10 years old that I lived while I was playing at Temple University.
That's right, yeah.
School during the day, practice every day, lift, work out. I'm like, he's only 10.
Yeah.
He's a 10. He was just a baby crying and sucking on a lollipop or a pacifier 9 years ago, you know, and here he is around the clock playing hockey 5 days a week. He's putting more ice time out there than most of the professional teams are. And I'm thinking, what are we doing to these kids? Yeah. But the thing is, now he's able to play a sport where he actually feels his feet. He can step on a solid surface and actually push off, and it's not assisted by ice. Build an athlete, build a child who's able to experience a number of things. So therefore, and I want to tell you this, Mark, because I train with a number of different guys that are doing great things that played just yesterday at the All-Star game in Tampa that I trained with in Calgary before they went, to their season. Most uncoordinated athletes I'd ever been around, because you get them on ground doing the rope drill, ladder drill and such, and they have no idea how to move their hands. They can't even pump their hands with their legs. They can't catch a ball. They can throw it barely, but you get the stick in their hand and play some ball hockey on a basketball court. Oh, they're scrambling eggs out there. But you get these guys shooting basketball. Oh my goodness, it looks like Will Smith on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with those 8-foot rims, and they're out there dunking. But looks so uncoordinated. And the thing is, they just haven't experienced those things, and they let you know they didn't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can still remember even football players to a certain degree. When you put them on a basketball court, they can look terrible.
It's true,
right? And you often see why someone's good at football when you see them on a basketball court and they're real good. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that guy's pretty slick.
And that's when you know he's a good athlete, right?
That's right. Mine, I started off playing a lot of basketball, and it was all about the lateral movement. You those terrible drills your coaches have you doing, going sideways with the knees bent over and over to learn to play defense, and you hated them. Well, guess what? I became an offensive lineman because of that coach. It's like you say, build a nice athletic base, and then you can do anything you like. Do you see your kids playing football in the future?
You know what? They can play whatever they want, and I just want to make sure they have all the right teaching, going into it. And that's always been my number one thing. And if it came to a sport like football, I would be the one teaching them, because I understand the game. I understand how to tackle. I understand how to do all the small things that football requires of it. But honestly, their friends are playing hockey. Their friends are playing basketball. Their friends are playing soccer. That's what they want to do. They want to play with their friends. And as much as I would love for somebody to play some football, I was like, come on, man. Somebody play some football. But I'm not going to pressure my kids into ever doing anything. I want them to follow their heart, their passion, and do exactly whatever they want to do.
Yeah, football you can start later on in life too, right? I started grade 9 in high school, right? So, just like you say, as long as it's the thing that you enjoy doing, then go ahead and do it. We often learn from things that happen in life, like big moments, and we can take those moments when they've been successful and teach them to others. And I'm so curious, because in football, I had big moments like NFL Combine. You've got every coach in the world looking at you about to do a 40-meter sprint, and I've had those moments where they're huge, but none as big as going into overtime in a Grey Cup.
Yeah.
So what's the thought process in your head when that's about to happen?
You know what? I was so numb in my mind that game. Like nothing. There was honestly. I played I played with such freedom, and I felt just free that entire game. Like nothing was on my mind but just executing. That's all I kept telling guys.
How did you get in that state?
You know what? I knew it was my last game.
Okay.
I knew it was my last game, especially from what I told you earlier about, going into the season, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, because I knew going into that final week, there were going to be so many distractive things happening to try to take me out of my game, from people saying no matter what happens in this game, Trevor Harris is our guy next year. I had all that going on. Yeah. But I didn't even care or even know anything about that till after the game. And I didn't care, because I knew that was it for me, and I wanted to make sure that final moment was the best moment I ever experienced. And leading up to the game, I felt like Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, the other guys, because they were talking about how great Calgary was, how great Bo Levi was, and he's one of the great quarterbacks, winningest quarterbacks ever. Yeah. Oh, and then Henry Burris over here, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, but they're not going to win. And I'm thinking, man, look at what I've done, and now here they are doubting me again. But it wasn't the fact that they doubted me. I just said, you know what, I don't care, because I'm numb to this now, and I'm going to go out and play the game of my life, because I control the destiny right now. Yeah. And regardless of whatever they threw at us, all I kept telling guys, even at halftime, I was like, just keep doing what we're doing and stay locked in. Even when they came back in, and you'll see it before the final play of the game when Bo Levi threw the incomplete pass, and you'll see Trevor over saying something to me. Chris Williams is like leaning on me. And Trevor's like, okay, I'll let you know what happens. And I was like, it doesn't even matter. It does not even matter. We could have played. We could still be out there playing right now. And all I would say is it doesn't matter, because we were going to win that game regardless. But yeah, I felt no emotions. I felt no highs, no lows. I stayed even keeled because I knew my only job was to execute.
Yeah.
And I knew those were the last plays I was going to run. So you wanted to at least make sure the last impression is your best impression and walk off the field and have that mic drop moment. And I'm thankful that I did, and thankful that I had that focus. I was locked in that entire game, and I'm not gonna lie, the Percocets, or not Percocets, but all the drugs they had me on and getting my knee shot up definitely helped out as well.
The real story.
Yeah,
the cool Tom Henry Burris. Why he's always smiling.
But I was so locked in, I was so confident,
Yeah.
and everything just felt good that entire final month for me. And the fact that I knew that that was it, I wanted to make sure I closed that chapter of my life in the fashion that I felt I started it and in the way that I thought I could, and I'm thankful that it was able to happen.
That's amazing. That's like to be in that zone, and it only can come through many years of failures and learning from mistakes and to keep pointing yourself in that direction, right? Because even when we're told these sort of things, and people who are listening are going to go, okay, that's fine and dandy, but I'm thinking about being calm and just taking one step at a time. But that in itself is a struggle, right? Because we have someone sitting on the other shoulder going, you're a failure. That's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
And only do we get better at that by repeatedly doing it, by over and over for years. How many years were you in the CFL?
Well, overall, in all of football, I played 20 years.
20 years of that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Henry, we can do this. We're just going to take this one play at a time, right? And for people who are saying it doesn't necessarily work, it's just keep trying. Just keep doing it, right? It's all about repetition. It's all about over and over.
Well, I tell you one good thing for people to reference is, and one thing I always love to tell people, I love to tell kids who talk about self-confidence issues, and people are always saying this and saying that. I always say, when you look in the mirror, do you see a shadow? And they're like, no. I'm like, exactly, because the only person that has anything to do with you is you. And I'm like, what you put inside of you, what you invest into your life is what you will put out. And honestly, in the end, knowledge is power, and knowledge brings confidence. Mm-hmm. Proper preparation prevents a piss poor performance. And the more that you're prepared, it betters you and keeps you more confident, which keeps you more calm, which keeps you mentally sharp. That's how you get into the zone. Yeah. You can't prepare and expect to be the most prepared. Mm-hmm. You have to go in, cover the T's, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure any situation that could occur, you've prepared for it. That's how you get into the zone, because knowledge is power, and getting into the zone is knowing everything that you need to do possible to be successful. That's how you're going to win. Look at all the superheroes. How are all their movies? They do this, they put that together, they do this, they do that. Okay, now it's time for the final scene. Yeah. They've done everything they could. Everything's prepared. They've had all the every little thing that could happen. Yeah. They prepare for that moment, because every move the bad guy makes, they make the right move. Why? Because they prepared for that moment. What you see on TV is no different than life. Yeah. And it's the reason why they're showing that, because they want you to draw from that and take it into life and go be successtional.
Wow. It's all about the hustle, right?
And it is.
Just keep pointing yourself in that direction. And then having confidence that someday it is going to pay off, right? Like I know a lot of people think, what if I give all this time and this energy to something that doesn't happen? But it's not about that thing happening. It's about spending your days working towards something. Right? Hunter S. Thompson has a great quote, and I don't know it off by heart, but it's about should I have a good time floating in the ocean, or shall I swim towards a goal? Right? And this is the conundrum we all face. Like, do we spend our day having a good time watching Netflix, or do we spend it doing things that are not necessarily at the time fun, but taking us in that direction? Do we go to the gym and do we lift weights, which is painful and not necessarily the greatest thing I could be doing, but it's taking me towards that goal? And that's sort of, I think, what we lose a lot of people in that struggle nowadays. Especially, they're going to stare at Facebook instead of going for that run or whatever. And so how does Henry Burris avoid those distractions, and how do we keep our children, the young people, from falling into that trap?
Well, I've amassed over 20 years of just writing. Wow. I have all these plays. I have all this stuff that I wrote out for myself, both
Did you
mentally.
Say plays like
playbooks,
Romeo and Juliet?
Oh no, like offensive plays.
It's a playwright.
And now that I'm done playing, what is it for?
Yeah.
What is it for? I put in all this work, and now I'm done doing this. What is it for? Yeah. I've had people say, well, you didn't make it to the big show in the NFL to make all the money, but this is my big show.
This is the big show.
I don't need money to define what I've done. Mm-hmm. I'll find ways to make money. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's not a hard thing, but I was able to do something that few people were ever able to do, is to play a game on the professional level. Yeah. I may not have gotten there, but I've got here. I made it here. Why? I wrote all these plays out, and all my thoughts I put on paper. Mm-hmm. Why? I haven't done anything with them yet. Yeah, I went out and ran the plays, but all this writing I did, I haven't done anything with that. Mm-hmm. The thing is, you never came short of a goal. You're at that point for a reason. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, when you go into the gym and you work out hard, yes, you may not make it to the stage to be Mr. or Mrs. Olympia, but you're healthy as can be.
Yep.
You're making sure you can live a longer life. You're putting yourself in so many beneficial spots. Don't live life knowing that the glass is half empty. The glass is always half full because you put in the hard work to get you somewhere for a reason. Mm-hmm. The reason why I put in the hard work during the off season wasn't because I knew my career was coming to an end. I knew what I wanted to do after football. Mm-hmm. I had a passion for something. I always tell people, if you work with computers, you love looking on the screen, you love downloading, you love working with apps, turn that into a hobby. Mm-hmm. You have a passion for it. Find the answers. There's Google. We didn't have Google when we were kids growing up. Life is so much easier now to achieve the goals that you want. It's only a couple of strokes of a computer key and hitting the enter button away from gaining that knowledge. Where us back in the day, we had to go to a library. We had to get books, check books out of the library or read about it, then write down notes and then initiate it from there and execute that plan, whatever we came up with to make whatever business work. Now everything is at the tip of your fingers.
It seems like now it's action. The key, the sticking point is to take action.
Take action.
Things, right? Just go ahead and don't. I had Drew Lynch came second in America's Got Talent on this podcast, and he said, and it stuck with me, and I say it to myself every day and think of him for it, is it's action before motivation.
Yeah.
You're not always going to want to do that thing, but if you start doing it, then you get motivated. You don't always want to go to the gym. Start walking towards the gym, and you're going to have a good, you're going to enjoy that process, right?
Exactly.
So don't wait around to think, I'm going to write the great American or Canadian novel or song or joke or whatever. Sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and start writing.
Just
it out,
write,
man.
Just write.
Just start. You give it all you got.
You know what? I love telling people to fail big.
Mm-hmm.
Fail big. Like shoot for the moon, and if you fail, great. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah.
Because now you know what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
If you never try something, how will you know what exactly takes to get there?
That's right.
You never know something unless you try it.
You got to fail over and over, right?
You have to fail. Yeah. I mean, I failed. I've been cut. I've been released. All those things happen. Mm-hmm. But throughout those occasions of gaining that experience of knowing what it's going to take for me to be successful, look at where I ended look at where I ended up. Mm-hmm. Look at how I closed out my chapter.
Yeah.
That all came because of the setbacks.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan always said he became the greatest basketball player alive because of the 29 times that he failed, or the times that he failed to win championships, to make certain shots. He wrote all those down, places that he failed. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with failing.
When you say you wrote things down along the way, is that sort of you wrote down things about the plays or how you felt or like goals or what is it? Because, writing is a very important part of our brain. Right?
It is.
It's part of our process and growing and looking back and seeing how we've changed. Mm-hmm. And so do you continue to write things out by hand?
All the time.
Yeah.
Because, to me, if you can, the most powerful thing is communication between your brain and your fingertips, mm-hmm. and with something to write it with it. When you write down on paper, that sticks with you.
Yeah.
That sticks with you forever. When you write something down, when you take action, like you mentioned, with something that's on your brain, when you take action with it, it becomes a part of you. It's ingrained in your DNA. You will always remember things that you write down. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how you can remember that, because if you just thought about something and you said it to yourself 2 or 3 times, tell me how long can you remember that? Not longer than 10 minutes, I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just the subconscious mind.
That's right.
If you write it down, it'll be with you forever because you took action with it. Mm-hmm. And I tell people the power of the pen is the most powerful thing ever. Look at these people that write books now. These books are things that people are reading, and they are helping change people's lives. Yep. Because they put it on paper, they put it on canvas, mm-hmm. whatever they did. Just the world of art, man, it's such a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. There's so many different forms, but look at how it controls how we think, whether it's food, music, comedy, sports, whatever it can be, mm-hmm. writing, whatever, music, it doesn't matter. It's all art created from within the minds and souls of people who had passion for doing things that they truly loved in this world. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they had those thoughts and that passion in their heart, and they took action with it. It's changed so many people.
That in itself was art, right? What you just said, that was poetry. Like, honestly, to do that and to follow through and the only difference between me and the guy that's got a book in the bookstore is he took action to write his book, right? We all have a story. We can all do it. We just have to go about and find what we like doing and do it. And I look at your career, and I was obviously looking at it on Wikipedia, and it's amazing because there's so many times when you could have quit and given up. Like there's a time where I saw you listed playing in Berlin, right? Like
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Tell me you're not questioning your trajectory, your career trajectory at the point when you're checking into Berlin to get your equipment, right? Like what's going on here?
It was crazy, but you know what? Football, it took me around the world.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be able to play in Glasgow, Scotland, to be able to play in Dusseldorf, Germany, in Frankfurt, Germany, to play in Barcelona, Spain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's amazing.
That's where I was able to play the game of football. Yeah. And I played on TV back in the U.S. so my parents could watch me. And the thing is to experience that. Yes, I could have said, you know what, man, this sucks. You know, I got to go over here and play football. I'm good enough. I should be over here. Hey, don't just take it with a grain of salt, because look at what you're getting paid to go overseas to play a game, to be in a place like Berlin, Germany, where one day I'm going to go back with my wife, with my kids who weren't there with us when both my wife and I were there experiencing Berlin, Germany together, and see what we experienced and see it through our eyes. Yeah. Those are things that you can't take back. That's right. Because there are a lot of people who've never been to Europe, and they would only aspire to go to Europe one day, but the game of football took me and my wife there, to be wife, because I was going to get engaged to her in Barcelona. And the day I was going to get engaged to her, I had a pop in my knee during the game in the third quarter against the Barcelona Dragons. Yeah. And I wasn't able to propose to her because I was in bed with my leg elevated with the ice pack on my knee because I had torn cartilage. Wow. And but the thing is, the game showed me this beautiful world of ours. It gave me places that we were going to have to go visit one day again in our lives because it was so beautiful, but we weren't able to really enjoy it because the game of football was there. But things happen for a reason in life. Don't ask questions. Don't say why. Don't take it as a setback. Just take it as a stepping stone to get you where you truly want to be in life, because seeing that part of Europe only enticed me to go back and see even more Europe. And I know once my wife and I got married, we went back and did a 2-week vacation, a 2-week honeymoon in Europe, you know, kind of going around France and all those different areas. But it wouldn't have enticed me as much if I didn't get a taste of it in the beginning. And that's because of this so-called setback. Yeah. But I'll take that setback of playing in Europe any day over doing anything else. Because
you might have to take a setback next year.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Who knows? I could be broadcasting for Ye TV or something. I don't know. I don't know where I'll be. But, I mean, I'm not going to say no or be upset with it. Yeah. I'm going to say thank you and move forward with it and continue to learn and be thankful for what I have, because it could always be worse.
Yeah. It's amazing when I look at, you know, your career, and I find a spot where maybe this is a weak point for him, something he didn't enjoy, and you turn it into the greatest thing ever. That's what it's all about, though, right? Looking the bright side of everything, the positive side of everything. And I mean, achieving so much at so many different stages in your career, was it like a goal setting thing? Did you sit down and write out your goals?
I've never been a goal person. I've never been a goal person. I have things that I aspire to do, but I've never been a person who writes something down and says, I have to get that, because there's many different versions of that. Yeah. Because I always thought I was going to be a sports broadcaster, but here I am doing morning TV and I love it. Yeah. But am I complaining? No, I'm not saying, but I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. No, I'm still doing something that people would do whatever to achieve this position, this role that I have. But again, beyond what my role is on TV, I still have an opportunity to help persuade people, to put smiles on people's faces, to help them reach their goals. Sounds familiar, right? The things that I did when I played football. So I'm still able to do the same things that I did during that time in my life. But now there's a whole new world. Life is just not all about sports. I'm able to look out there and talk about politics, to learning what's the next thing I can make at home to win me some points at home with the wife. You know what I mean? Great places I can take my kids around Ottawa that I had no idea these events happen, because I lived in this bubble called football forever. So there's so many things that different directions I'm able to take things. But that's why I say, I mean, people can make goals. That's great, because it gives you a focal point, thing you can focus on and say, I'm going to do that one day. Because I knew in my life I wanted to be a professional football player. I never said NFL or CFL because I just wanted to play football. I didn't care where it was, who it was with. I just wanted to play football. And that dream came true because I worked hard to achieve it. But the thing is, don't structure your life so much to where you say, I have to do that. You don't have to do anything. Only thing you have to do is breathe, and eat and drink water. That's all you have to do, and and do the things necessary to live a good life.
Yeah.
As far as to keep yourself healthy, take your vitamins, do those things, eat good food, drink healthy, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to do anything except for those things. But the things you need to do are the things that are essential and things that can make you happy, things that can soothe that passion and help you feel that sense of fulfillment. Put the people around you that can make you feel as if they complete you, gives you that sense of fulfillment as far as having the right people in your life to make you feel like this is worth it. That's all you truly need. So yeah, I never put that pressure as far as setting goals, because there's so many different versions of that similar role that you can achieve. And the fact that you're able to achieve one of those roles as far as in that passion that you have should fulfill truly what you were definitely seeking.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well said. I used to have a TV show on Rogers called The Big Bad Sports Show. We had a sports psychologist and very famous guy. In Pursuit of Excellence is his book. Not sure if you're familiar with it. Just can't think of his name right now. I know I got the book up there somewhere. But one of my questions to him, for him, it was all about positive thinking, visualization, pointing yourself in that direction. And he helped people do that. Olympic athletes do that. And my question to him was like, are there some people who just think that way anyways? And it seems to me you're a kind of guy who, without realizing it, sets your goals on something and just goes about it every day, working super hard in that direction, right? I mean,
exactly.
Because you've achieved so much in football. Now you want to do this broadcasting. You're talking about being a sports broadcaster, and you get up every morning at 3:30 to go broadcast, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, you're moving in that direction, whether or not you've written it down on a piece of paper or not. So some of us are fortunate to have that mental process, and I believe it usually comes from your parents, from the way they brought you up through, maybe growing up on a hog farm or whatever.
Right.
Like, there's certainly some principles that are developed in a farming lifestyle, right?
Every day is a work day.
Every day is a work day. That's right.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure in football, you always heard the whole cliche where they say, every day you go out to get something, you go out to achieve something, because if you don't achieve something, then somebody else achieved that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because you can never live life in neutral. If you put your vehicle in neutral, you're not going anywhere. And I don't think people understand that when you hit the gas, the harder you hit the gas means the more you put into it, the more effort that you give into what you're doing, the further you will go. Yeah. If you live your life on the brake, with your foot on a brake, being resistant, not wanting anything, you're not going to go anywhere. And you know that. We know that in life.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm just positive by the fact that I know life is too short. And I know with human nature, there's always this pursuit to win materials, to get this, to get that. I'm a guy, I just want experiences. I want my family, I want my loved ones, I want my friends, and I want people just to experience good things in life. Because once we're dead and gone, all we can take with us are memories. That's it. We can't take the money, we can't take the cars, we can't take all this stuff, but that's what we get caught up in. And the thing is, but our life only lasts so long. And I want to make sure I enjoy every day of my life, no matter if we won, lost, in whatever part of life it is, because we're going to have people come, we're going to have people go. That's life. And it's unfortunate. And when people look at the fact that we're here on this earth, and at some point we're not going to be here. But the thing is, how are you going to live that life during your time here? Are you going to live it complaining all the time? Or are you going to live it saying, you know what, that person might have told me I couldn't do this, but you know what? I'm going to go out and show them what I can do. I'm going to get it done. And you know what? Because I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it. I have the resources here. I may not know how to get that. Let me make a call. Let me go on Google. Those two things right there will actually help you out more than anything else in this world, because I know you have somebody in your life that you can ask that question to. Yep. Asking questions and researching are two of the most powerful things you can do to get you anywhere. And that's why I smile, because it's all right there.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Ask if you don't know, right? That was always a big football one.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a bad question, right?
Yeah, that is very good. So football's changed a lot in the past. Well, since I stopped playing in the past 18 years. And the reason I retired because of a head injury. I had a huge head-to-head collision in Winnipeg one night, and I didn't play again for the rest of the season. And I played in that Western final, and that was probably too much at the time. Yeah. And I never played again. And I've been coaching football recently, and all this new safe tackling. It seems to me the game has changed. There's more of an awareness that this is a serious problem, situation. And football is so worth being around, obviously, because it makes great men, great community leaders. It helps us out in life to learn to overcome things. So many good, valuable things in this team sport. There's a spot for, any body type in it. Yeah. And so how have you seen it change in that? I know that everyone's up here they're thinking about it, and also tackling techniques have sort of changed. And did you have any head injuries?
Only thing, and I was like, see, I think every athlete has that one area where they have issues with injuries continuously, and for me, it was my knees.
Yep.
Because I had 5 surgeries total on both knees, ACL on both, and then I had 2 scopes on my left, 1 on my right. So like I've had my fair share of knee injuries. I had my bell rung a couple of times. Never a concussion, but I had my bell rung.
It's amazing.
But because I went through the protocol and I bounced back quickly. There was no problems. Before I even got to the sideline, I was telling them stories about everything, and because they were asking for it, whatever they asked for, I had the information promptly. I was aware and did everything they asked me to do. I made sure I did it. But I've always asked this question to a number of different players that I played with in university, played with in the pros, and even I posed this question to you too. If you knew what you knew now about concussions, even back then when you started football, would you have still played? I still said yes. I don't know what your thought.
Yeah, definitely.
I would play because right now at CTV, I have 4 colleagues that are out with concussions. One got hit from behind with in a car, a ski accident, snowboarding accident, and a dodgeball accident.
It's very dangerous.
And that's the thing. Dodgeball.
Were they not wearing their dodgeball helmets?
I know, right?
What's wrong with these people?
Global Gym Purple Cobras. But that's the thing.
That's crazy.
To me, you could walk outside, slip and fall.
Yeah.
And get a concussion by falling. Hockey, I'd rather dodge a 300-pound guy than that wall in hockey. But I think now we're at a time where the rah-rah coach is no longer needed in football.
That's right.
I think that's the difference, because when we grew up, they always taught us to see what you hit, put your helmet and your face mask right on the sternum between the 2 numbers. That's how we were taught. And we saw how that's turned out for everybody. And now you see more of a rugby style. Get your head across, tackle with your shoulder. That's what those pads are for. And I think now coaches need to be held to a high level, to a high standard, to make sure they teach kids properly, because coaching and cheerleading doesn't match. Your job is to prepare that kid to go out and be put in a situation to be successful and also to stay healthy. And if coaches can't do that, they need to get rid of them. And I think that's one of the most important things, because I've seen camps that happen here in Ottawa where these young kids are hitting each other. They're not being taught. They're leading with their head, and they have no idea what else to do because that's how they're being taught. And then when one kid gets flattened by a kid who's twice his size, all the coaches do is go crazy. Oh, great job. Oh, you ran him over. And that only promotes the kids to continue to do that. And we don't need that type of teaching. And I know I'm starting camps this summer, more skill camps. So we're going to teach kids how to tackle, teach kids the technical stuff from watching film to how to feed themselves, speed and agility, everything. We're not wearing pads, but we're going to teach kids how to tackle the right way.
So what is that? Like, that's Henry Burris's?
Yeah. We're going to be releasing it in February next month. It's going to be coming out, and we're going to be marketing and exposing it and everything.
That's awesome.
It's called Air Academy. And
Air Academy?
Yeah,
Okay.
Air Academy. And we got the website. It's ready to be released, but we want to make sure we get all the logistics all set up with location, because we're going to start it in the summer. We're going to do an outdoor camp to start, and then we'll work our way into indoor camps after the outdoor camp.
That's awesome.
And we're going to have some fun with it, and we're going to make kids, efficient with what they're doing. We want kids that are technically ready to take on football seriously. And we want to teach them how to play the game, how to be effective, and how to be able to see and take advantage of the little things that maybe they're not getting taught from other people. And having the experience and the guys that are going to be part of our crew working with the staff, working with the kids, these guys have been in the fire. They've been there. They've done it. They're bright guys. They're great guys away from the game as well. And they're guys that are looking forward to sharing their knowledge and experience with the kids that'll be present.
This is a football town, too. Ottawa's always loved football, right?
Yeah,
for
big
sure.
time.
It's the fans are out there. And so what age is that for?
Well, we're going to do 12, 13 up to seniors in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's not going to, we're not going to have a super camp where we're having 200-300 kids. Fortunately for us, we're not going to do offensive linemen because I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that about O-linemen. We love them, but
they have other places to go in the summer.
I never played O-line. I do understand it, but I can't teach technique on something I don't know. I love them. I can take those guys out to eat, and I know exactly what they want to eat, so I can help out the quarterbacks with that. But we're going to hold it mainly just to skill players, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, slot backs, tight ends, two-way players being defensive back, running back, linebacker type guys. But our main focus is working with the offenses and stuff and helping these kids become better athletes, getting them exposure by bringing up recruiting coordinators and different position coaches from down south, Div 1, 1AA schools. We'll be having guys coming up watching the camps and such like that, scouting these older guys, exposing these older players and such. So it's all about getting kids exposure and making them not only great athletes, better football players, but also better people. That's our main thing.
That's the main goal in all kid sports, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's what I think. That's what I put my kids in for.
Yeah.
If it's not a positive environment, then let's go try something else.
Exactly.
Right? Do your kids play music at all or anything besides sports?
Well, they're getting into guitar playing.
Nice.
I know at school right now, my oldest played the saxophone.
Yeah.
One played the tuba, one played the saxophone. But they're both ready to get into guitar.
Yeah.
They're going to learn how to play guitar. They're going to learn how to play the piano.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure they learn how to do those because those can be just great casual things. If they're sitting around the house, they can reach over, grab a guitar and just start playing music just to calm their minds, their souls. And who knows, it might be a thing they do before games where they just sit in their locker and play music. And
we have 8 guitars in this house.
Oh,
One kid plays them all.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he loves it. It's another one plays drums. Doesn't play it as much, but the guitar is his thing. It's always in his hand. We'll take him snowboarding, and the whole way there he's playing the guitar.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. That's what we've done. Similar to what you've done is put things out there for them and just kind of watch them and see what they attach themselves to and are passionate about. And then, we start upping whatever they're doing. Are you more interested in doing more lessons and that sort of stuff? And if they are, then they do it. And it's beautiful to see, right?
Yeah.
When they spend their time when you don't have to go practice the violin or whatever and they do it on their own.
Yeah.
That's when you're happiest as a parent, I think.
Well, like you said, you build that passion in kids and the fact that they're able to not only play whatever sport they play, but most importantly, get their education, do good in school, enjoy some sporting events, understanding teamwork and preparation, how important that is through the world of sport and learning different skill set. But then if they can learn something that can be a lifetime lesson or something that they can use that's rare, not only for everybody, because I don't know how to play many instruments because all I did was play sports. And so that's why I'm a person, I don't care about if I use myself as an example for good or bad because, there's things that I want people to learn from me about and I don't care. People can make fun of me. I care less because I'm that easygoing. But I want my kids to be better than me, and I want to see other kids be better than me. And, be excellent, excel in your sport. But if I knew how to play guitar, if I knew how to sing, if I knew how to play different instruments, man, you couldn't tell me anything.
Yep.
And the thing is, if you're a kid now, I tell them, take advantage of this. Do this now. Learn different languages. Learn how to play multiple instruments. Can you imagine? I know for the guys out there who are watching, especially the young kids, and there's this girl you might like, and all of a sudden, does she know you play guitar?
Yeah, it's pretty
Hook,
cool.
line, and sinker.
It's pretty cool. There's many times when I wish I knew how to play the guitar.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a prom date already lined up, buddy.
I can remember being in a circle, and everyone's going around. They're really good. I had no idea everyone could play guitar, and then they hand it to you, and you just keep it going.
Yeah. Give me a drum. Boo, 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 boo.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate it. That's been an hour. I really appreciate this, man.
Hey, Mark, thank you so much for having me. Honor and a pleasure to finally meet you, big man.
Yeah, great to meet you. Hopefully see each other around some more.
I got to come down and see you on stage performing.
Yeah, I'll get you some tickets for sure.
Yeah, let me know.
I'm going to text you when 2 weeks from Friday. I'm back on stage.
Oh, you're on Friday?
Every Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Mark Hatfield's Friday night, and it's an amazing show. We have me, I'm the host, and I do about 15, 20 off the top, and we have 4, 5, 6 touring comedians do 12 minutes each, so it flows and it's good, and we've been getting great crowds, and
I'm glad you said Friday because I have to get up at 3:15 each morning, and if you said Wednesday or Thursday, I'd be like, oh gosh, there's no way I can make it.
No, that's what time you must go to bed at 8 o'clock?
8:30, 9 o'clock to 9:30. And last night, my oldest had a hockey game actually at Earl Armstrong, which is not far from here.
Beautiful rink.
So I went over and watched him play from 7 to 8. I didn't get in bed till 9:30, 9:45. And you feel it in the mornings, but you know what? Off the adrenaline and the excitement to get in and get the morning started. Because once those bright lights hit you, it's kind of like, hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the, I mean, but I have a passion for doing that, and I look forward to it. But did you know one of my bucket list items is to one day do one stand-up gig?
We are doing it. We are doing it, man. Whatever I can do to get you on stage, we're doing it at Yuck Yucks. Ottawa, you hear me?
I hear you.
We're doing it. I'm going to help you out, and we're going to figure this out. And you're gonna be at Mark Hatfield's Friday night doing a stand-up act.
I would love to do it. It would be a blast.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. This is so exciting. It's a thrill. And I often think about, some days when I go to get up on stage, and it's for me, coming as an offensive lineman, I was never the quarterback. You know what I mean? So when I get on stage now, I get to be the quarterback, and it feels fantastic. And like you say, the lights hit you, and all those eyeballs are there, and it's live, and you'll be great at it, man. I can't wait to do this. We're gonna do this.
I think my biggest thing is how do comedians prepare the material? How do you prepare your material? Is it stuff that you've rehearsed beforehand, or is it stuff more off the cusp?
A little both, and some of the off the cuff stuff is also prepared, and you try to set it up, and you have different options, different areas to go, but you got to write it, you got to come up with it, you got to do it over and over and get better at it.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, the first time you'll be on stage, everybody will love it, you will love it, and that's how it happens.
Oh, cool.
You get so addicted from that moment on, and then you start taking it apart, watching the game film, and going, I can do this better and that, and it's very similar to football.
That would be fun.
You're gonna do it. I can't wait.
I'll have to try that. I look forward to that.
As soon as we get off here, I'm calling Yuck Yucks, Howard Wagman at Yuck Yucks, and Henry Burris will be on stage there for sure.
Let me know. Let me know.
I can't wait. That's awesome.
I'll have to go through the Hatfield program studies first.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple.
Thank you.
Like you say, you write stuff. Just sit there and write stuff. Talk about your kids. Talk about anything, right? Especially you've come from a world, and it's sort of me too. I come from this professional sports world where as soon as I say I played football, all eyes turn and listen, right? And that's half the battle. People want to know more, and the stories you have. Oh, dude, you have no idea. I think it's going to be Henry Burris's Friday night.
Oh, no. I will never go close to you.
It's a terrible idea. You shouldn't try it.
I look forward to it. I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome, man. Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank
you.